Now, what's the key to understanding the specifics of Franklin's leadership? I think they are many. But you know what? I think the secret starts with his apprehension that he knew how to lead himself. All leaders have to figure that out first. It's not, so impressive if you've got a whole team of people, a corporation with thousands behind you, but you're not successful at leading yourself with the discipline that requires. Franklin gets it. He gets it early. You see, when he's promiscuous over in London as a 21-year-old, 20-year-old, coming back, he decides that he can live a better life than that. And he decides to go on a campaign of moral improvement. And I'm going to go into a little bit. But here's this relatively tall, muscular, large-chested young man, stronger than most, stronger because as a printer, he has to carry lead, you see. Lead's heavy. And he had the reputation for not carrying just one tray, like most apprentices and journeymen. He carried two. So here's a guy who did have a little bit of physical presence, but that gives you a key into his discipline. He said, instead of just carrying one, I'm going to carry two. I'm going to be more efficient. He wanted to swim. Why did he want to swim? Because he was fascinated by the sea. He told his parents that he wanted to have a life on the sea when he was a boy. And they said, yeah, sure, kid. Now, you're going to come and you're going to apprentice in my shop first making candles. But you know what Franklin did? He went out to a pond there in Boston, and he taught himself to swim. He got a French book. He couldn't even read French at this point. He got a French book with 140 illustrations of all the strokes. He taught himself to swim. Just look, he'd go back to shore, look at the sequence of strokes, go out and try it, teaches himself. But do you think he stopped there? This is an alpha wolf with, again, 500 trillion synapses. He says, what if I take a kite and tie it to my toe, and I do the backstroke kind of thing, or I'm on my back, and so he lets the kite propel him across the water. Discipline. How do we do something better? It's fascinating. Always working to find a better way of doing things. Oh, his self-directed study. 2 years of school, Boston Latin School, but boy, did he became the student that we teachers dream of. Because what did he do? When he's in James's print shop, and all the people are working to put together, the New England Current, the newspaper. What is Benjamin Franklin doing? But he gets his lunch break as fast as he can. He excuses himself. He doesn't eat with the other apprentices. He goes to the back, and he is reading. He's reading Addison. He's reading Steele, Locke. He's reading the great philosophers. He's teaching himself geometry, Socratic Method, how to argue effectively. And he teaches himself to write. Benjamin Franklin becomes, as we'll discuss in just a few minutes, the first great author in American letters. But he taught himself to write, you see, by using that spare time. And what he would do is he would retreat to the back room. He would take, say, one of Addison's essays. He would write it out, and then he would cut the words out, or he would cut the paragraphs out, and he would shuffle them up. And then he would reassemble, and he would rewrite the entire essay that way. And he would try to improve it, just like that kite on the toe in the pond. He would try to improve on Addison and other great authors of his day. This is how he taught himself to write. This is a driven teenager, 15, 16 years old. One gets the impression that he would not be asking Dad for the keys of the car. He later worked at his swimming. I've got to add one thing. He's really a Leonardo da Vinci character as a teenager. He later works to develop fins. He develops the first fins. These are hand fins to swim and to propel him even faster. Always disciplining himself to think what is a better way to do things. And he worked hard to improve his character. As I say, he comes back on this ship from London, and he decides that he really has to be a much better man. He had failed in his own eyes. So he works on his character. He comes up with a list of 13 qualities, and he's going to work on them week by week. And he writes about this in the autobiography, and it's very funny as you go through. Things like temperance, silence. For temperance, eat not to dullness, drink not to elevation. Resolution, order, frugality, industry, sincerity, justice, moderation, cleanliness, tranquility. And remember, he's practicing these virtues in sequence. The last one is chastity. He figures he's going to give himself a pass, 12 weeks of working on the others, then he'll get around to chastity. He showed the list to a friend, and the friend said, "Ben, don't you think you're missing a virtue here?" "What's that?" "Humility. You have a little bit too much pride in your ability to master these virtues week after week." So he says, at the end, he says, "Okay, I add humility, imitate Jesus and Socrates." Very modest.